Another popular question in regards to T3, the teen timeline, is how can it be utilized in a high school curriculum? How does it fit into a high school curriculum? And that's a tricky question to answer because as I've traveled around, specifically around the United States, but even to other countries, in our parochial school system, there are a lot of different regulations and stipulations. And in different schools, Scripture is taught at different levels, at different times, in different ways. So I can't give one all-encompassing answer to it. For instance, in one setting, it's an intro to Scripture class, is for ninth graders, and they utilize T3 as the very beginning, as to give an overall context of how the big story of salvation history works before you go into a lot of the smaller stories. That seems to work very well. There's other places where, for instance, they don't get into Scripture until sophomore year, or there'll be specifically in junior year, there's a course on Old Testament. What I usually say is to look at the curriculum, look at the framework of the curriculum for the 3 or the 4-year high school, and be able to say, okay, where in this is Old Testament, for instance? T3 works really well for that. The follow-up to T3, Thy Kingdom Come, works really well when you get into the Gospels. Other places I say, what really usually works, and I've talked to a lot of high school teachers that have told me this, is that using T3 at the beginning of your Scripture set, whether that's a semester, whether that's a whole year, wherever that falls in the curriculum, using T3 at the beginning, because again, it gives the young people the context, the big picture. And a lot of times you can use other texts, ancillary texts after that, after T3, to help follow up and to be able to go deeper into the specific tenets that your school's catechetical framework or curriculum framework necessitates. So when you look at your calendar, you're trying to figure out where to put it. If there's not specifically a time set aside for Scripture or for an introduction to Scripture or for Old Testament, then I usually advocate for doing it as early as possible because it gives a lot of the teens a footing, a foundation on which you can build the rest of your Scripture semester. Hope that helps.